Abu Talib, the silent protector of the Prophet, peace be upon him. Abu Talib Ebne Abdul Muttalib is a name that history often passes quietly, yet his shadow stretches across the most fragile years of Islam. He was not a prophet, nor a ruler, nor a man of wealth. He was something far rarer, a protector who chose sacrifice over comfort, loyalty over safety, and love over fear. This is his story, told not as a list of events, but as a human journey filled with emotion, pain, and unwavering devotion. Muhammad ibn Abdullah entered the world already marked by loss. His father passed away before his birth, leaving him without the protection that defined survival in tribal Arabia. His mother, Amina, cared for him with tenderness, but death took her as well when he was only 6 years old. A child so young, already an orphan twice over, stood vulnerable in a society where lineage and protection meant everything. For a short time, his grandfather Abdul Muttalib became his guardian. Abdul Muttalib was not an ordinary man. He was the leader of Quraysh and the custodian of the Kaaba, respected and feared in Mecca. Yet even this pillar of strength could not escape the decree of time. When Muhammad was 8 years old, Abdul Muttalib also passed away. The child stood once again at the edge of abandonment. Among the sons of Abdul Muttalib was Abu Talib. He was not wealthy. He struggled to provide for his own children. Yet when the question arose of who would take responsibility for the orphan, Abu Talib stepped forward without hesitation. He did not calculate cost or convenience. He simply took Muhammad by the hand and brought him home. From that moment, Abu Talib did not treat Muhammad as a burden or an obligation. He treated him as a son. He placed him beside his own children. When food was scarce, Abu Talib would not allow anyone to eat until Muhammad arrived. He believed, without knowing why, that blessing accompanied the boy. In a home of limited means, love filled the empty spaces. As the years passed, Abu Talib and Muhammad became inseparable. When Abu Talib traveled for trade, Muhammad traveled with him. On one such journey to Syria, a monk named Bahira observed the young boy. He noticed signs mentioned in ancient scriptures and grew concerned. He warned Abu Talib to protect this child, for a great destiny and great danger lay ahead for him. Abu Talib did not argue or question. He returned to Mecca immediately, his sense of responsibility now deeper than ever. Muhammad grew into a man known throughout Mecca as Al-Amin, the trustworthy. People entrusted him with their wealth, their disputes, and their secrets. Abu Talib watched with quiet pride as his nephew's character shone brighter than the idols surrounding the Kaaba. He supported Muhammad in his marriage to Khadija, and for a time, life settled into calm stability. Then, at the age of 40, everything changed. Muhammad returned from the cave of Hira shaken and afraid. Revelation had descended. The command to read echoed through his heart. With the message of Tawhid came a burden heavier than mountains. When Muhammad began to call people to worship one God, the foundations of Quraysh society trembled. Idols were challenged. Power structures were threatened. And the anger of Mecca turned toward one man. Mockery came first. They laughed at him. They called him names. When mockery failed, insults followed. When insults failed, stones were thrown. Yet through it all, Abu Talib stood behind Muhammad like an unmovable wall. The leaders of Quraysh went directly to Abu Talib. They respected him. They knew his position in the tribe. They asked him to stop his nephew, to silence him, to protect the old order. Abu Talib listened patiently. He spoke privately to Muhammad, explaining the pressure he faced. Muhammad responded with words that would define faith for all time. He said that even if the sun were placed in his right hand and the moon in his left, he would not abandon this mission. Abu Talib looked at him and made a choice that would cost him everything. He told his nephew to go and say what he wished. He swore that he would never abandon him. From that day on, Abu Talib became a target. Quraysh offered him wealth, leadership, and power. When that failed, they tried bargaining. They offered him one of their strongest young men in exchange for Muhammad. Abu Talib's response was filled with anger and disbelief. He asked how they could expect him to raise their son while handing over his own to be killed. When persuasion failed, Quraysh turned to cruelty. They declared a complete boycott against the Banu Hashim. No trade, no marriage, no food, no mercy. Abu Talib, his family, and the early Muslims were forced into a narrow valley known as Shi'b Abi Talib. For 3 long years, they endured hunger and isolation. Children cried through the night. Mothers tied stones to their stomachs to dull the pain of hunger. Leaves were eaten. Survival became an act of worship. Abu Talib was an old man by then, weakened by age and hardship. Yet every night, he stood guard. He moved Muhammad from place to place while he slept, fearing assassins. He placed his own sons where Muhammad had been moments earlier, willing to sacrifice them if necessary. This was not tribal pride. This was love expressed through suffering. During these years, Abu Talib defended Muhammad with poetry. His words were bold and dangerous. He openly declared that Muhammad was truthful and that Quraysh would never reach him unless Abu Talib himself was buried in the dust. His poetry was resistance. His loyalty was defiance. Eventually, the boycott ended. But the damage had been done. Years of hunger and stress drained Abu Talib's strength. He fell ill. Quraysh visited him one last time, hoping to break his resolve. Yet even as death approached, his loyalty did not waver. Abu Talib passed away shortly thereafter. For the Prophet Muhammad, this loss was devastating. He had lost not only an uncle but a protector, a father figure, and a shield against the hatred of Makkah. That year became known as Aam al-Huzn, the year of sorrow. Shortly after, Khadijah, the Prophet's beloved wife, also passed away. The support system that had held him together was gone. Scholars have long debated the faith of Abu Talib. History discusses, analyzes, and disagrees. But one truth stands beyond debate. Abu Talib sacrificed everything he had so that Islam could survive its most vulnerable years. Allah alone knows what rested in his heart. Humanity remembers what he gave. Abu Talib never preached Islam, but he protected the one who did. He never stood in prayer behind the Prophet, but he guarded revelation with his life. He never conquered lands, but he conquered fear, hunger, and pressure in the name of loyalty. Some people change history by believing. Others change it by standing firm when belief is attacked. Abu Talib did not walk away. And because he stayed, Islam survived. This was Abu Talib Ebne Abdul Muttalib, the silent protector of the Prophet Muhammad. For more deeply emotional and untold stories from history, please like, share, and subscribe to Fascinating Faces.